the bike, the derailleur is finally fixed, but it's taken 4.5 months to get here, but yep, it's finally fixed. So this is the part 3 final video in my little saga with the Amflow PL Pro that I have here, and more specifically that SRAM X0 derailleur. And honestly, it's been one of the most frustrating faults I've ever had on a bike in all the time I've owned bikes. Most of the time the derailleur would behave itself, but then it would go and do this. Now, I've been to 3 different bike shops since then, and since the first time that occurred. All have experienced mechanics, all of them have worked on countless SRAM equipped bikes. None of them had seen the problem that I had encountered with this particular derailleur. Something similar, but the circumstances on how to produce it were not the same. So really they couldn't help me, and that's where the whole waiting game, trying to suss out what was going on, these videos came from. Because trying to explain the problem to someone who hadn't actually seen it happen felt like I was talking to a brick wall, and I was completely stuck. Because in the end, this is a very expensive bike that I simply couldn't trust. If that mech decided to go bad, which it did, and you've seen, then this bike basically turned itself into one very expensive hobby horse. Not ideal, very hard to push. But what made it even worse was I couldn't work out exactly what caused it. By video 2, I had kind of sussed out a pattern, but then it wasn't reproducible, which was the other frustration. So I couldn't reproduce it, and I couldn't make it happen when I wanted to happen. So most rides were absolutely fine, but it did feel like I was riding on a time bomb, and if that mech decided to stop working, it would have been a long walk home. Now, as some of you know, I got this bike back in January this year. 2 weeks in, the first problem occurred. Fortunately, I was at a bike shop talking to a mechanic, finished chin wagging, set off, went to change gear, completed an utter gear failure. So Doogie, the mechanic, best guy in the world, spent more hours than he should looking at it, said, I have never seen this problem before. He said, leave it with me. I went home. He decided to have some lunch, went to switch the bike back on because it had gone to sleep, and the problem disappeared. So, yay! No, not really, because we haven't solved the problem. How did it fix itself? And that's why this whole thing is dragged on for so long. The fault was incredibly difficult to reproduce. It sometimes appeared after leaving the bike alone for a few minutes, but then it wasn't, you couldn't do it again, as you saw in video 2. So taking the bike back to the shop and say, here, the bike's got a problem, go and fix it, wasn't really an option because they couldn't reproduce it either. And that was the most frustrating part. And so that was why the onus was on me to produce this evidence via these videos, because everybody was in the dark. But fortunately, that second video was seen by SRAM. It was sent to them via the bike shop, 5 cycles. Fantastic. SRAM saw it, recognised the problem, said it was a bit rare, but they had seen it before. They told the bike shop, tell him to bring the bike in, give us the mech and we'll replace it with a new one. So that's what I did. And new mech, no problem, 6 weeks, result. Do I trust the bike? Do I trust it 100%? Honestly, no. It's getting better. I think I'm almost there. Just keeping my fingers crossed. It does feel a little bit like that, keeping my fingers crossed. I will say, SRAM, fantastic. Saw it, solved it, fixed it. Now, some of you may be asking, where was Amflow in all this? Well, absolutely nowhere. As I mentioned in my previous video, I did have an email exchange with them. I exchanged some information, but after 2 emails, they said, we can't help you, go to SRAM, it's their problem. I'm going, wow, It's your bike, you designed it. That's not a very good way to handle a customer. Like, I mean, what happens to the rest of the components in the bike? Are you going to palm me off to those two without sorting it out? A little bit disappointing. And it does, as I say, make me wonder for the future of the bike. But while the bike is working, I'm absolutely enjoying it. It's a nice bike, and I'm glad I got it. At the end of the day, it's going to be taking over my other old bike, my old go-to bike, which was my Celsa Bucksaw. Had that for 10 years, absolutely loved it, still in brilliant condition. But being 10 years old, being a fat bike, it has some unique, expensive carbon parts, which unfortunately are either very difficult to get hold of or cannot get hold of. So basically, I rather preserve it than push my luck and break it. I will go out and ride it again, because I do love to ride it. It feels so good. But this is now my new go-to bike, and with that, it will push my riding skill envelope a bit further, because it did plateau on the Bucksaw. I predominantly ride this around in eco mode with the parameters all pulled back. So I'm not a totally soft e-bike rider, but I am a convert. I do like the old assistance. And I've also, since the last video, changed to a 27.5-inch wheel, which has made it feel much more planted, stable, not so much perched up on the saddle. So that was a great move, and with that also it's lowered the gears, so now I can use eco mode even more because I'm not running out of gear range. With that also I'm then putting less stress on the drive chain and all the gear, so hopefully that will last a little bit longer too, while keeping me a little bit fitter. I can always switch the bike off and then I can pretend I'm riding a fully loaded fat bike. Sorry, a fully loaded bike packing bike. Well, I used to use my fat bike for bike packing, but you know what I mean, a very heavy bike, which that is when it's not assisted. So that's the end of the story. Hopefully nobody else will spend 4.5 months chasing the fault because you have these videos, or hopefully YouTube will give you the videos so that you can look up the problem and maybe show it to someone and say, look, this is the problem. So I will leave part 1 and part 2 videos links in the video description below, and I thank you guys for watching. Keep safe, and I'll see you guys next time.